As much as I would like to start this video with an explanation of the lore of Metal Gear Solid, I'd really rather not edit 30 minutes of video just for what will be, hopefully, a short video on the ethics of nanomachines in Metal Gear Solid 4. So if you want to know more about the lore and how everything got to where it was in Metal Gear Solid in the universe, you're gonna have to look it up by yourself. So here's the video. In the world of Metal Gear Solid 4, technology has advanced so much that there are nanomachines capable of stimulating the human body in an infinite number of ways. You can shut off your emotions, give yourself dopamine boost, suppress memories, coagulate blood to stop bleeding from any wound, increase reaction time, as well as a plethora of other things that could possibly just go on forever, depending on how much you want to look into it. While this has had a majorly positive effect on the medical industry in this universe, the main supply of these nanomachines end up being used in warfare. The ability to lock guns away from those without a specific nanomachine code embedded into their, set of nanomachines, it is impossible for other people without said code to use those weapons, completely locking out enemy forces or rebels or just anyone trying to oppose whatever nation you are. The ability to create a soldier out of gamers is a strange one in the Metal Gear universe, because what they end up doing is using, very advanced VR and setting them up, having them go through hundreds and hundreds of simulations, and then injecting them with nanomachines. And as I said earlier, you can suppress emotions. So these people are being, killing enemies and seeing their friends die, but the nanomachines repress those memories and make it so the effects of war are lessened. So a normal human being can be put into warfare without any training or background and be just as good as any other soldier. Another ability they have is to give you dopamine boosts, as mentioned earlier, because you can have a soldier essentially get dopamine boost from getting a kill or doing a successful task. And this is very similar to the way modern gamers are able to get dopamine boost whenever they normally kill an enemy in a game. That's the whole appeal of gaming. And it's kind of scary that in the world of Metal Gear Solid, you can have that same sort of feeling just in a real combat zone. This has created a somewhat of an arms race between every nation, where every nation is trying to get more and more nanomachines so they can get more soldiers, so they can have bigger armies as a whole. This makes it so the people owning the nanomachines, the Lalilule Low, it allows them to have all of the power, all of the access, because they are the one and only supplier of these nanomachines. And this is where the main conflict of Metal Gear Solid 4 comes into play. But that's not really important for this video. It's a whole other topic that would take me hours and hours to really explain thoroughly. But how ethical is the use of nanomachines? Well, I don't think it's entirely ethical, especially because, as you can see in the events of Metal Gear Solid 4, people end up basically losing their minds whenever the nanomachines are turned off. All of the emotions and suppressed trauma that they've been going through their entire lives as a soldier, all at once just comes flowing back, and it completely scars them. And it's not really something that should be used, at least the way it is in Metal Gear Solid. There are many, many medical benefits that could come from nanomachines. It just kind of depends on who is actually, distributing them and controlling them. There is some real-life examples that we can look at. While our technology isn't currently as developed as it is in Metal Gear Solid 4, there are some parallels between the use of gamers and normal everyday people in warfare. Our current US military has actually been targeting gamers for a few years now. In this example, you can see that they are trying to appeal to the character shooters or hero shooters in games like Team Fortress 2, Overwatch, Apex Legends, and so on. To have gamers sit behind a screen and shoot people with drones hundreds of miles away isn't far removed from having nanomachines suppress the memories and, trauma of warfare. It's pretty close because it's completely, shooting from a drone is completely different than, you know, being in front of someone and shooting them with a gun or slitting someone's throat or many of the other horrors of war. You are very far removed when you are in a drone, at least compared to the foot soldiers who are actually on the battlefield. Even the way nanomachines give you dopamine boosts is very similar to the way the US Army probably wants soldiers to feel whenever they're behind some of those drones. Many gamers feel happy when they get a kill in a video game, and I'm sure there are a few people out there who basically use those drones, and in their mind it's almost like a game, because, you know, they just see these little dots, they point, they click, and then they might get a promotion. It's kind of scary, and it's kind of crazy how often Kojima predicts the future with things like Metal Gear Solid 2 and the advancement of the internet, and Metal Gear Solid 4 with the way they appeal to gamers, and even eventually in Death Stranding, whenever all of humanity was put in lockdown, separated from each other, and only able to communicate with each other through very menial means and not actually being one-on-one. So I think it's always pretty funny how Kojima ends up getting these things right. Now, how far away is this technology? It's pretty far, especially by the estimation Kojima did make, since this game is meant to take place in the near future, and that was in like 2009, so it's been quite a while. The closest we've gotten are nanomachines that can deliver drugs to certain areas of the body, namely cancerous regions, anti-cancer medication, and as well as artificially helping sperm enter eggs. However, I do think they should be developed. There would be many, many great uses that these things could have for the medical world, and it's all really up to the distributor or the person who is controlling these machines to actually have them be used effectively and properly. So it definitely is something that needs to be watched heavily by basically any source, any, you know, UN or big nation of people who can make good enough decisions that these don't fall into the wrong hands. Honestly, as long as it's not the Lalilulelo or the Patriots, you might say. Thank you for watching. This is my first video I've actually edited using a real editing software. I don't know if I'm going to do any more videos. I kind of hope to. It really just depends on how motivated I am or if I have anything else to talk about. This is mainly for a school project, so that's kind of the reason it's here right now. I think that's about it. See you next time.